What's up, everybody? This is Don't Forget 209, and I got another 2v2 deathmatch here for you guys. This is gonna be against that. It's gonna be me and Gordo Max against the dude that beat me in 1v1s from the last video you guys saw. And then his boy, I forgot their names. I know it's QU1CK2KILL, and then his boy is I couldn't really catch what the name was, but something with the O's, a lot of O's in it. Anyways, yeah, so I mean, what people came down to tell me is that these guys are really like top-notch standard players, I guess, and that's really cool, you know, because I've never really played standard players on deathmatch before, not that many, and if I do, then it's really rare. But I mean, what I give these guys prop for is because what the typical standard player, like a lot of people that we see that first play deathmatch, the funniest thing, like everybody would know what I'm talking about. It's like when you see the people making supply pads first in their main bases and stuff like that, and then you find that really funny because you just assume that they're from standard because they just make supply pads first. They're thinking about economy right away, which is not the case in deathmatch. In deathmatch you get right into it right away, so it's a lot different. But these guys, nah, these guys, they know what they're doing. QU1CK2KILL has, he's learning it quick and fast, because these guys are getting it down. They're running double cut. They're running the typical combo in this game is gonna be Prophet Cutter. I'm fighting the Prophet this game, and Gordo Max is gonna fight the Cutter. So right now we're doing our standard build, like our standard expansion, and so I got my secondary base right now, and then we're already putting a lot of pressure on these guys by taking out their secondary bases. I see that Prophet bought the third base already, so I'm assuming these guys, like, yeah, I mean, you just, like, the way that these guys are playing, they're playing like they know what they're doing. Like they've been watching somebody's videos, or somebody taught these guys what to do, or they're just that smart and then they got it that fast. But like, look at this guy. I mean, he's rushing my secondary, which is something really smart to do. But the only problem is that fool, this guy, he rushed my secondary with the hunters. I've never seen that before. I've never seen nobody rush my secondary with hunters, But I mean, the Prophet got kicked out because I got the anti-air right there, and then I got the 3 Master Chiefs right there too. So they were doing a lot of work on the Prophet. The Prophet almost died, so that's why the Prophet had to recall. But the hunters that stayed back there, I thought, to be honest, I thought I was gonna lose my secondary base right now, just because of the hunters. Because the hunters were actually doing a lot of damage. My base was weak, but I managed to save it, like, miraculously. I managed to save it, so that was a really cool thing right there. So I mean, it put me on the edge. And then I got, an offensive going on this guy. I'm not going to let this guy get a shield whatsoever, because, that's a thing that they're going to have to do. If they're going to if they're going to be a prime threat, they need the shields on these freaking bases. And then that's one thing that I'm really good at, and I'm not going to let these guys actually do. So pretty much I'm going to be putting a lot of pressure on this Prophet right here. And what I'm starting to notice is that this guy, I don't know what his name is, but he's making a lot of hunters in the beginning. And then later on, he's gonna transform these hunters. Like, he's gonna pretty much switch his army around to wraiths, which is the common thing to do. But for some reason he was going hunters, and then it's to a point, to some extent, hunters kind of work, but they're really easy for me to counter these things, because nobody really takes hunters that seriously. Because I don't know, I've seen so many high-level prophets try to do these. I fought probably some like the best prophets, and then they try to add some twist to the Prophet. Like, instead of using all race all the time, they would add, like, the hunters sometimes. Which the hunters sometimes do work with some good micro and stuff like that. But in the end, overall, they're not the same as the wraiths. The wraiths are something that they're really more threatening, and then they really pose a threat to what we're trying to do. And then the hunters, for some reason they don't have that same threat. So when I start seeing prophets making hunters like this guy, I just I have this, like, back in my mind feeling that we kind of won the game, because I don't know, I mean, it's just not the same as wraiths. Wraiths they're probably not as strong as wraiths or whatever. They don't do the same damage. They're not mobile like the freaking wraiths. So that's one guess. I'm guessing why everybody chooses wraiths, because the hunters are not that mobile. So I mean, but this guy, he was trying to use them. It didn't work out for him too well. And so right now, what's pretty much going on is I got this guy's bases under control. I'm not gonna let this guy get a shield whatsoever. Gordomex is putting a lot of pressure on. I kind of forgot who I'm fighting. I think I'm fighting the Oopth guy, and then Gordomex is fighting QU1CK2KILL. And then pretty much Gordomex is putting a lot of pressure on Quick, so am I too. I'm not letting Quick to get a secondary base. And then Gordomex is just going to be putting pressure on Quick, you know, not letting that guy get a secondary base. So right now we're actually doing pretty damn good in like terms of controlling the map. I got this map under control pretty much. And then like later on I kind of noticed I get a little bit sloppy, but overall we do have the map control and we do got everything under secure. So right now I see Gordomex, he's on my side trying to do some damage, which is fine, you know, because I guess things are going really that well on his side that he could just pretty much pop over here and help me out for a bit. But you know, having Quick under control by not letting him get a secondary base is a big threat, because you know Gordomex is gonna pretty much out pop him, and it's just gonna be pretty much a wrap, you know, because Gordomex is running Anders, and then this guy, he's cut of this game, so if he doesn't have a secondary base and he's going to try to fight Gordomex, it's not going to look good for him. So, I mean, he needs to get that secondary base up, which is one thing that we did really well in the beginning, was taking out and then making sure that the cutter in this map did not get a secondary base. So that's why things are going the way they're going right now, because the blue guy in the map, he has never secured a secondary base. So, you know, once he gets it up, you know, of course, but it's so far into the game that it's so easy to take it out later on. You know what I mean? So like if he buys it eventually, it's just that much easier to take it out for us later on, because you know our military is so damn strong. It's everywhere. We're like at our prime. We're all over the map. It's just gonna be really difficult for him to actually keep it up, you know, because we'll see if we see a weak base and it's this far into the game and then our bases are secured, it's gonna be so easy for us to keep it down. So I mean that's why it's so important for everybody in the map right in the beginning to secure your secondary bases, because this is something you got to do, you know, because you don't want this stuff to happen. You know, you got to secure the secondaries, which is, you know, which is something big, which is unfortunately what Blue wasn't able to do. He couldn't secure it because we actually put a lot of aggressive, like, we made an aggressive expansion. I don't know. I mean, now he's trying to put a lot of pressure, but, you know, I'm going to be checking the secondary base, making sure he doesn't have it. I got an overwhelming amount of Hawks flying around the damn map, and then I feel like I got this guy under control because he keeps making hunters, so I'm not assuming a big of a threat that Prophet's gonna be. So I'm gonna send my Hawks to help out Gordomex, because Blue is finally pushing up on him. And you never know what's gonna happen. You never know if Prophet pops out of nowhere with 50,000 wraiths. So I'm gonna send my stuff over there to help him out, and we're just making sure that Blue guy never bought it. So in this part of the game, we noticed that Prophet finally gave, Blue finally gave the Prophet the secondary, because it's so, like, they started noticing that it's so hard for the human to keep the base down. So what's going to happen now is that I see a window of opportunity to end the game, and then I'm going to pretty much start putting all the pressure on Blue, and I'm going to start taking out his supply pads. And then pretty much this is the part where I'm going to start putting so much pressure that he's going to have to recall and then retreat to his main base, because Blue guy, he's running on one base right now. I'm willing to lose all those Hawks that I got right there in exchange for the ODSTs, because I'm about to drop a Mac on his main, and which is going to be pretty much the end of the game. You know, and then yeah, so in this part of the game, I'm just showing this video. It was a decent game, because, you know, I found out who these guys were, and then these guys are probably like top-notch standard players. You know, if I caught these guys in standard, the game will probably last like 2 minutes, I guess, because, you know, I played standard when the game first came out and everything, but, you know, I started really catching on to deathmatch, and that's where I'm at. That's where my skills at, you know, deathmatch. So I mean, if these guys, you know, are pretty raw in standard, you know, I'm pretty sure these guys will give me a whooping on standard. But you know, these guys, they're learning it quick. You know, everything they did in this game, they didn't do nothing wrong. You know, they executed everything well. They know the basics at least. They know they gotta go for their secondaries. Prophet rushed my secondary. He almost took it out actually, which is actually something really threatening. And yeah, so I mean, these guys know what they're doing. With a little more practicing, they could get it down. So I mean, this is pretty much coming towards the end of the game right now. You know, with that pressure that I put on Blue, having him recall, I dropped the ODSTs, I dropped the Mac. That base is gonna die, and then from there on out, it's just gonna be pretty much it. So, I mean, yeah, that was a GG right there. That was a good game. And it's pretty much the wrap right there. So, I mean, guys, if you guys like the video, like and subscribe. And then I'll be posting more videos soon enough. So, I mean, just stay tuned, I guess, you guys, all right? And I don't know what I'm doing right now. So, I mean, I guess I'm just checking out the map. But, yeah, guys, take it easy. I'll be back with more videos.
He just had that